Fear is Not an Option by Monica Berg. Introduction. Kabbalah teaches that we have come into this world to grow spiritually and to make a positive impact on the world. Our inherent nature is at odds with growth as we tend to want to stay in our comfort zone, but that is not the realm in which we ultimately want to live. Fear takes small, insignificant things and makes them huge. The goal is to eradicate fear completely. Chapter 1, Healthy Fear. Fear is an emotion caused by a perceived danger or threat that causes a change in our metabolic and organ functions and ultimately a change in our behavior, such as fleeing, hiding, or freezing. Our fears may arise in response to something specific occurring in the present or anticipation of a future threat. The participants in the room with others take exponentially longer to report the smoke if they report it at all, even when smoke continues to fill the room to the point where they can barely see. This has come to be known as the audience inhibition effect. The idea that people won't respond to an emergency situation out of fear of overreacting and embarrassment. Fear of embarrassing ourselves as a result of acting on our healthy fear causes danger to ourselves and others. Intuition is what we know without knowing why. Those things in life we intuit without knowing why we know them. Just because we may not recognize the source of our intuition doesn't mean it isn't absolutely accurate. Think about romantic chemistry. Often, two people meet, have a wonderful conversation, and genuinely like and respect each other. However, that relationship will go nowhere if their pheromones are not attractive to the other person. What does a pheromone smell like? We don't know, but our body certainly knows. And more than that, discerns what would make a good mate based upon the generic differences relayed through those pheromones. Often, intuition is accompanied by an emotion, maybe evoking feelings of familiarity or even dread. My advice, listen to your intuition and listen to your inner voice, your gut. In the face of your intuition telling you something is off, don't try to reason with yourself. Just listen to what your instincts are trying to tell you and take steps to ensure your safety. Chapter 2, Real Fear. Real fears can be empowering. For instance, if you feel losing people you love, put your energy toward being completely engaged when spending time with them and fully appreciate that they're here now. Real fear can be used as a powerful motivation for using our thoughts and spending our time wisely. Chapter 3, Illogical Fear. Illogical fear resides on the opposite end of the spectrum from real fear. It might feel the same, but it is typically triggered as a result of something hypothetical or altogether not existent. The positive draws us toward transformation. The negative force gives us the opportunity to choose the direction of our lives. The positive force is our inherent perfection, and the negative side presents the challenges that help us to bring our perfection into the world. Chapter 4, Get to Know Your Fear. Of all the fears that bedevil mankind, none is so terrifying as fear of the unknown. What is unknown can neither be avoided nor controlled. By naming the creatures of a newly formed world, Adam became the master of his environment. Berg. Without acknowledgement, these illogical fears continued to live and grow. My fear of schizophrenia was masking my real fear. What I actually feared was the unpredictable, indescribable, uncontrollable nature of life. Chapter 6, Anorexia. I don't have to eat. New scientific findings are proving that eating disorders and other inheritable diseases are catalyzed by a number of factors. The top three being dysfunctional family dynamics, feeling of exclusion in social groups, and negative external influences. External influences would include the impossible and unrealistic portrayal of women's bodies in the covers of every woman magazine. Shame is the fear that if people knew something about you, then they would no longer love or accept you. Shame is feeling undeserving, that if we behave in a certain way, then we will no longer be deserving of love. Whenever I was face to face with something I feared, I tried to control, ignore, or run away from it. I had no out. I had no options. Chapter 8, Joshua, my body has betrayed me. I had a long held mistaken belief that if you're on a spiritual path, nothing bad can happen to you. Spirituality isn't a security blanket. It offers no guarantee that nothing bad will happen. It doesn't hide you from harm or protect you from life. It doesn't stop your process from occurring. As I've shared, my fear always manifested out of feeling as though I wasn't in control, fearing the unknown. I remember thinking, I have a choice. I can either feed into the fear of the reality the doctors were positing. I could give into my own fears about what raising a child with Down syndrome would do to me and my family, or I could be attuned to the beauty and potential of what he could become and subsequently who I would become. Today, he is 15. He's happy and healthy and living life as his best self. The anxiety eventually grew into desperation. Finally, I had to let go. I had to accept what was because I had no other choice. In regard to Josh, many of the things I feared never came to pass, and so it is with life. The things we fear usually never come true. It's the ones we never give thought to or deem possible that really guide us, that really get us. I was given the chance to put my certainty to the test and let go. Certainty looks like this. I feel uncomfortable. I don't know what to do. I've exercised every option. I trust this process completely because I trust the creator completely. And I know that all that happens is ultimately in my best interest. Hearing what we heard from our doctors that day could have filled us with a fear powerful enough to break us down and break us apart. Even so, while it seemed like a real fear, it wasn't. It was worry, which is a byproduct of fear and offers just as little service. As Corey ten Boom says, worrying does not empty tomorrow of its troubles, it empties today of its strength. Chapter 9, Miriam, True Surrender. I began speaking to her. I told her every day when she was in utero how things were going to be. You are strong and healthy. You will come into the world with ease and grace. Later, I was told my heart rate and my daughter's heart rate had dropped dangerously low. At this point, through the haze of medications, I was at a place that I felt like a dead end. And in that, I found gentle clarity. I knew that the assistance I needed was going to come from somewhere far greater than a doctor, anesthesiologist, or hospital. I looked up from my hospital bed to the ceiling, whispered to the creator, I'm yours, and I surrender to you completely. I trust you. Whatever should be, should be. I didn't want to leave this world that day, but I was ready for whatever was meant to be. I felt total certainty and trust. Surrender is not about giving in or giving up. It's the act of not knowing an outcome and putting yourself in the hands of the creator. I am yours. It was the first time I experienced total true surrender. And it was the most blissful feeling of freedom I've ever felt in my life. Looking back, I see now that each of my pregnancies had given me new opportunities to eliminate fear and understand certainty even more deeply. I needed my experience with Josh, the fear and the anxiety, in order to let go. That desperation and exhaustion forced me to let go, to step into surrender for the first time. Miriam's birth was my opportunity to experience that surrender in action. As we work toward eliminating fear, we can understand it takes time, it takes dedication. When we decide to remove fear, it doesn't just vanish, we have to work consistently to remove it. Chapter 10, Abigail, Becoming a Channel. And if there is anything I know for sure, it is that in life, nothing happens until you decide. Giving up is not an option. The only option given to you in this moment is found in your free will. Events may not be in our control, but we can control our reaction. For instance, choosing certainty instead of fear, the most important choice. Labor became just like exercise. Everything was mind over matter. In life, we fight discomfort, but when we embrace the uncomfortable things, they pass much more quickly, and pain is an energy that can be converted. Pain is a force. It's strong, overwhelming, even debilitating. But when we take this great force and use its strength for our designated outcome, in this case, bringing a child into the world in a peaceful way, pain is converted to power. It may seem as if you can save yourself pain by avoiding difficulty. We often find uncomfortable things. We fight our process, we fight our circumstances. I try to do just that for many years. Next time you find yourself in emotional, physical pain, don't try to go around it, avoid it, work through it instead. No energy is ever wasted, and life in a nutshell is just experience. You'll begin to see that everything in life prepares you for something else if you are paying attention. Chapter 12, Consciousness for Living Fearlessly. We all have strengths that are shown through challenges, and each of them is designed to help us become our truest, most fully realized self. It is the path to our purpose. The ultimate goal is to transcend fear and to come to a place where you trust the Creator and the process of your life. Fixed versus growth mindset. There are two basic mindsets we fall into that shape our lives. In a fixed mindset, your abilities, intelligence, and talents are static, like a computer program that is loaded into your brain at birth. It runs involuntarily and remains the same. A growth mindset is geared towards constant evolution, and a fixed mindset is geared towards constant validation. As you begin a path of uncovering and eliminating your fears, ask yourself, what mindset am I operating from? If you're not sure, take a look at the list of qualities for each. Fixed, avoids challenges, finds obstacles to be overwhelming, prone to giving up, views effort as fruitless, is defensive or ignores negative feedback, feels threatened by the success of others. Growth mindset, embraces challenges, persists in the face of setbacks, views effort as the path to success, learns from and integrates feedback, finds lessons and inspiration from the success of others. Fear feeds off stagnation and blocks us from being our best. It keeps us from taking advantage of the opportunities that present themselves to us. Most people would not equate mixed opportunities with fear. We've adopted a very strange perception that opportunities are all about luck, when in fact it is often fear that stops us from seeing those opportunities. When we are distracted and overwhelmed by our fears, we are blinded to the opportunities that exist all around us. Michael Berg states, we create our own luck through our behavior and interactions with other people. Actions that are selfish, abusive, or inconsiderate propagate misfortune in our lives, which we mistakenly interpret as bad luck. A quick way to see a situation differently is by answering two questions. If you removed your fear, how would your reality change? What would you do today if you had no fear? Now act on that. I came up with a 3-step action plan that can work for you as you begin to move away from fear and toward that which you truly want. Mind. Find an advocate, someone you trust. When you head into a fear-filled situation, consider finding an advocate or trusted friend who can offer support as well as speak for you if you aren't able to do so for yourself. Body. The second aspect is our physical body. Just because something is usually done in a certain way doesn't mean that you have to do it that way. You have options. When overcoming your fears, look at it an expectation you may have that is connecting you to your fear and change the rules. Spirit. Finally, and most importantly, I placed total trust in the Creator. Whatever the outcome would be, I knew it was for the best, even if it didn't go as planned. The mind, body, spirit approach can be applied to other fears. For instance, if your fear is related to your career, speaking up to an overbearing boss, partner, friend, or parent, you can apply these ideas to those unique experiences and challenges. Mind. See conflict as a means to find resolution, not to create animosity. In fraught conversations, one tool I like to use is to ask rather than tell. Our brains react very differently when we hear a declarative statement versus a question. Body. Dress in a way that makes you feel confident and powerful. Spirit. Spirit is the same for every scenario when you place your trust in the Creator. The outcome may not be what you envisioned, but it will ultimately be for the greatest good. There is also no opportunity for growth within comfort. Though there is nothing wrong with comfort, it is always worth checking to be sure you aren't avoiding a higher calling. Where do I see myself in 5, 10, and 15 years? Questions to ask. Do you choose comfort over curiosity? In this moment, what is something you want to do? What feels exciting to you or feels like it's part of who you're supposed to be? Is fear playing a role in holding you back? If you weren't afraid, what's the first thing you would do? How many of us are able to express our wants and true desires without feeling shame for wanting them in the first place? It begs a very practical question. Do we allow ourselves to ask for what we want? Shame is the fear that if someone really knew us, including our wants and desires, then they would no longer love us. For some reason, we do not express our wants because we become afraid of appearing too blunt, too aggressive, or too demanding or needy. But why is it wanting something considered a bad thing? It isn't. It's the basic human condition to want, to desire, to dream. We owe it to ourselves to simply ask. Most people live their lives in one of the following 3 realities. One is caring way too much about what people think. People with this mindset might be afraid to pursue the career they want, The second reality is repression. People in this category often explode out of frustration from repressing their true self, their true feelings, and from too often holding their tongue. The third reality is one of resentment. This is when a person negates what they truly want, never allowing themselves to ask for more because somewhere along the line they adopted the belief they can't have it. There is absolutely no shame in wanting things, and there should be no shame in asking for what we want. How else will people know what to give you if you don't ask? Desire to dream. We owe it to ourselves to simply ask. We all know life is full of disappointments and dreams that didn't manifest. Instead, refocus all that energy into the next thing, the thing that is going to be possible because of the dream that never was. Energy is never wasted. Rejection, especially public rejection, is an overwhelmingly negative feeling that often leads to a spiral of self-doubt. The simple definition of rejection is that someone declined what you offered. That doesn't sound so bad when put that way. Now, everyone is going to value the same things. Not everyone is going to value the same things you do. Rejection doesn't mean that what you're offering isn't valuable or worthwhile. You just haven't yet found the right recipient. If you care less about what people think, you won't feel so rejected because it's not personal. Neuroscientists have discovered that unlike other kinds of emotions, intense rejection travels the same neural pathways as actual physical pain. Scientists surmised that early on, when a person was rejected from their family or tribe, they were unlikely to survive on their own. Therefore, the brain developed a very intense warning system to dissuade us from behaviors that would lead to being ostracized. It turns out it worked a little too well. Rejection can be so overwhelming. How are we expected to ever put ourselves out there again, fearing and risking more rejection? Aren't losing your mind, you aren't worthless, and you don't like talent. Your brain is just running really old software that is trying to keep you from being cast out. It's really that ridiculous. Rejection can also be a powerful tool for motivation. Rejection can help us to take power from what could be a setback and use it to fuel our next charge. If you find yourself stuck in the rejection spiral, unable to use that rejection as fuel, there's always Tylenol. How does this work, Samel? Acetaminophen, the active ingredient in Tylenol, works by inhibiting the synthesis of chemical messengers called prostaglandins. When it comes down to it, the work toward releasing fear is still yours. Moving is the symbolic death of an old way of life as we make way for our next incarnation, a new chapter with unlimited potential that I looked forward to with great anticipation and trepidation. New York has been an incredible part of our journey and continues to be. Fear was a signal that I was ready to grow, and even as I write this, I am so grateful I accepted the invitation. Because relationships require vulnerability to be successful, they also become instant mirrors for our unresolved fears. Just as any meditation should begin with the question, what do I want? A meditation to overcome phobia should begin with the question, why do I really have this fear? Just asking the question plants a seed for the answer. But what is hidden is not the information itself. What is hidden is the desire to request the information. Dig it out, and you will begin to make progress toward alleviating the fear through the memory of what caused it. Berg. Chapter 13, 7 tools for working through your fears. The ultimate way to eradicate fear from your life is to have trust in the Creator and trust in your process. Now, that's a big ask. The tools laid down in this chapter are geared to help you get closer to attaining freedom from fear. Tool 1, naming your fear. Look back at your list of fears from chapter 4. You name fears in different areas of your life and choose 3 on which to focus. You label them as either healthy, illogical, or real. Below, write your 3 main fears again and see if there is any change. Do you still agree with the way you categorized your fears? 2, burning your fears. As we move through understanding and removing our fears, there's another potent tool that can help you release feelings of fear and negative thoughts as they arise. It works like this. Bring the fearful and negative thought into your mind. Meditate on the verse, Esh Tamid Tukad al Hamet Beach. And you can either visualize a fire, or if you have the ability to safely create a real fire, you can do that as well. Whether you build a fire or envision the fire, it is important to throw your thoughts in as many times as it takes until you feel it is truly erased from your consciousness. Our ability to shift our consciousness is one of our greatest strengths. Tool 3, diminishing your fear. When fear comes in, ask, why is this coming to me? 2, let go and trust. Say to yourself, fear exists so I can connect even further to the Creator. 3, shift your consciousness. Tell yourself fear is not an option. And 4, meditate on the Tetragrammaton, the 4-letter name of God, the Yud, Chai, Bav Kai. To eradicate this fear completely, she needs to ask herself why she has the fear in the first place and what's keeping it alive, and to consistently shift her consciousness. Tool 4, trim labs. Illogical fears are our phobias, the everyday things that render us paralyzed. Trim labs are the tiny rudders attached to the back of the larger rudders on either ships or airplanes, and they offer assistance to the main rudder by mitigating pressure. Just moving the little trim tab builds a low pressure that pulls that rudder around. It takes almost no effort at all. So you could just put your foot out and the whole big ship is going to move. What he meant was the seemingly tiny amount of change the trim tab offered made a dramatic change in the direction of the ship. This concept reminds me of a quote I read in one of Nancy Gibbs' articles. It's funny how things change slowly until the day we realize that they've changed completely. This is true of your fear. By taking small steps and making small changes, one day you will wake up and the fear will be no more. Tool 5, make your anti-fear mantra. The fearful thought, I'm unprepared, I feel like a fraud, I'll be visibly shaken, I'll be humiliated. The mantra is, I am fully prepared. Everything I have to say is helpful, well-rounded, and something I believe in. I will appear cool, calm, and collected. So change the thought to a mantra. Tool 6, engage your body. The overall result, strike a powerful pose, feel more powerful, physically embody Superman or Wonder Woman, or anyone who evokes a sense of fearlessness in you. Engaging your body in this way not only takes your mind off your fear, it gets you into the physical and mental modes of confidence, strength, and power. Tool 7, time travel. Each Hebrew name is a channel for a different energy. Elohim is the name that is a conduit for the energy of judgment and negativity. This means that when we are experiencing something that is causing us fear, we are actually connected to the energy of Elohim. Now, the name in Hebrew is created by using the preceding letters in the Hebrew alphabet with the letters in the name Elohim, which energetically means we are connecting to a time before the fear. By meditating on the Hebrew words, we are actually connecting ourselves to the energy that existed before the fear we are currently experiencing. So Elohim becomes Aleph, which has no preceding letter, so it means Aleph. Lambda is changed to Chai. Tet becomes Det. Yud becomes Shin. And the final mem remains mem because the letter before final mem is regular mem. So anytime you feel yourself experience negativity or fear, use this tool. The 3 steps for eradicating fear. Step 1, plan for the morning. The world is new to us every morning. This is God's gift, and every man should believe he is reborn every day. Baal Shem Tov. To put it simply, you can face your fears in the morning, not at night. Make a plan to apply these steps in the morning and not in the evening when your energy and willpower take a dip. Step 2, challenge your fear-based thoughts. In this moment, instead of focusing on your physical response to fear, notice your thoughts. They will likely fall into 3 categories. 1, prophesizing. 2, overgeneralizing. 3, catastrophizing. In this moment, you can ask yourself the following questions. What about me currently contradicts this thought? Question, is there an action you could take if the situation were to occur? Question, is this thought fear-based? Step 3, exposure. In order to overcome your fears, you must expose yourself to them, which I recommend doing in small steps. You don't need to change your life overnight, but you can begin to release fear slowly by taking baby steps. This is exactly what the hill exercise does. Fear that goes unchecked becomes a planted seed that roots itself and grows. Tackling our fear in small steps not only helps to eradicate it slowly and surely, it also nurtures our confidence. Think of a fear you have currently and start to trek your own hill. As fears arise, challenge the thoughts that arise with them. Ask yourself in every moment, what am I choosing? Is it comfort over curiosity? Am I choosing limiting beliefs? Or am I choosing to grow and expand? Step 4, create your exposure hill. Now it's time to cement or change perspective by building an exposure hill. Take your fear and beginning with the smallest steps, create your exposure hill. Start with 6 steps. So as you make accomplishments, set up a reward system for yourself in order to create a positive feedback loop. Chapter 15, 7 things I want my daughters to know to become fearless women. 1, your body is part of your expression. 2, never be ashamed of your passions. 3, make friends. 4, talk to me, even if we disagree. 5, you are beautiful. 6, you are your own person. 7, it's them, not you. Just remember, it's really not about you, it's about them. Epilogue, an affirmation to replace fear with certainty, trust, and love. I am fully capable of handling any situation that arises, any challenges that arise in my day and my life. I trust everything that happens to me is for my greatest good. Fear is not an option. I have total and complete trust in the Creator. I choose to connect to the light in every situation. Fear is not an option. I meet every event and circumstance with the certainty it will work out for the best. I am whole and complete. Fear is not an option. I can achieve my greatest goals and dreams. I am living in and as my truest self. Fear is not an option.